Blessings, 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 blessings be unto you. This is Mercedes Warrick, and welcome to Sacred Key. This is the October 2023 Sacred Soul Ignition, and there has been a lot going on in the world. I would really like to suggest that you visit the channel, look up the Holding the High Watch series, and if you go to Sacred Key under the blogs, there is this blog post that says how are we being in this time of chaos and war. We'll talk about being the lighthouse. That is actually that post is actually a good example of spiritual inquiry, and there's a lot of questions in there. You'll see a lot of the things that I have been pondering. I'm also still continuing my studies with the Foundations for Contemplative Care, and that has stimulated a lot. So October has been a very vibrant and dynamic month. We're also celebrating my 6th year since my diagnosis on October 1st. So there has been a lot going on. This soul ignition answers a lot of those questions that was on that blog post. And so let's get to it. Let's take a deep inhalation and exhalation. Just coming into this space. A little bit, slow things down. Okay. So it is not surprising that the Sacred Key card, if you were to meditate on one energy this month, it would be love. But I'm actually going to name this card the open heart. Okay, you see there's a little opening here, and it's empty in the middle. I'm going to really be cognizant of that as I learn to work with this energy, this ignition. So we say that love is a transformative force. Love is also the opportunity to become open and aware of ourselves. And so it is poignant that it is in the center of this layout, the soul ignition, because there's so much going on. There really needs to be an awareness of self, and almost on a daily basis, or if you feel your body sort of tensing up, to do an audit of yourself, to really become aware. I don't want to say hyper-focused, but to become aware of releasing energies throughout the day, releasing tensions in your body. One of the things that came through one of my sittings was that our actions may not be clothed in spiritual or divine language, but everything that is happening is spiritual. And there was really really interesting insight, I'll say that, insight was that, especially for men, the men in your life, especially for the men in your life, you know, they're not going to be saying, in the name of God, I'm going to go buy the groceries now, you know, but appreciate and become aware of the nice things people are doing, the humane things, the kind language, the kind words, the compassion. Because as we recognize it and even say, I'm grateful, thank you, either inwardly or to the person, then that energy will be amplified in the world. This is really a time of being aware of the Gandhi phrase, let me be the peace that I want to see in the world. Okay. So the open heart is actually a lot of different things, but it's the inflowing and the outflowing. It's the dynamic circulation of the energies that we're living in, and it's also an awareness that there are layers. When I saw the insight, I saw the layers, like a layers of the cake, and there's layers, and so we can choose to tune in. Now, this morning was really interesting because I was wondering what Priya was listening to. Her ears kind of perked up, and she can hear, she can hear her favorite person's car coming from 2 blocks away. She'll start, and getting excited that either there's two of them, either one of these ladies are driving up. So the other thing is that to become aware of our capacity to hear at the subtle frequencies, or to know or to feel at the subtle frequencies. And this is all going to be flowing through the heart when we're talking about taking action in that way, sitting. You could just sit in the frequency of being in love, being in the frequency of love, and now, as I'm speaking this, the guidance is saying, and not being concerned about what is yours to do, because as you're sitting, things will come forward, or what is yours to do is just the sitting itself. Things will come forward. Don't necessarily be under the stress or the strain. This is a time of in my group right now, we've been talking about flow, not fight. So even though there's all of this stuff going on in the world, be really consciously aware of releasing yourself into an opening environment that is in the frequency of love, and make that sort of the centerpiece of your day, of the actions that you're taking in this moment. There's a lot of chaos happening. You can be in the chaos, like as you're in your job in the world, but you don't have to be of the chaos. You do not have to contribute to the chaos or allow it to permeate. It's a lot of exhaling, a lot of sighs of release, okay? Let's go to this new frequency that came through. This is the energy of the pathways and the crossroads. And so often we get into situations, actually right now it might be even happening more than usual, where we're not in agreement with what's happening, and we're just standing, almost afraid to take another step. That's one way of looking at this. The other way of looking at this card is that in the higher frequencies, the energies, let me rephrase that, because I don't want to put it in the divine. It is divine, but I don't want to put it like you can only access this through the divine. That's not what this is saying. What this card has demonstrated and has showed me over the last week has been that an evaporation of karma. So everything that has occurred in your life up until this point, things that you might have done that have been violent, either emotionally or physically, you might have reacted, things that you might look back and say, oh, I really regret that. Cause and effect, what goes around comes around, all of that kind of energy, it has been rephrased and repurposed into that was a point on the path of my life, on the journey of my life, and it was the exact right thing that happened in the exact right moment. So instead of thinking that there may be a mistake that you've made, it is settling into everything that has occurred in my life has been right. everything. And you know, my big example is cancer. But in the blog post that I wrote, it was so interesting because it said, do I now have to oh, I forgot a critical piece of information here. So in my class, the Buddhist precept that we're studying is do not kill. And the day of the Hamas attack, we were sitting in the first day of our October cohort. So we were sitting in this cohort, and people were just in various feeling states. I hadn't turned on my phone, and this is what was going on in the world. And so now we're in this, we're in some, for me, it's hollowed learning. I mean, this class is really on purpose for me. And we're studying the precept, do not kill, on a day that this horrific violence has occurred. And we stay in this precept for a month. So that is the other reason why I would love it if you went and read that blog post on sacredqi, because it was a reflection of my questions for the moment. And one of those questions is, how can I find the purpose? How can we find the purpose? And so a lot of times we find ourselves right here. We find ourselves in this point where we can, go backwards or go forward, go one way or the other way, or just sort of move into the openness of not knowing. And it was so interesting too, because when this layout came, the other thing that happened was, in love. I've had another example in my life where guidance asked me to pray for somebody who had done something horribly horrific. And I did. I was in the middle of ritual for something else, and they said, please include this person within the ritual. And I was like, but that's the devil incarnate, really, So give ourselves a break, do it lovingly, and know that we are in the third energy. We're always in the third energy. When any two individualized energies comes together, they spark, they ignite to create a new energy, right? So the way that, and this is the way I sign my paintings, 1 + 1 = 3. And that third energy, we have the ability to be aware of what we're creating, right? So if I'm not feeling well and I react, that is the exact right response for the time. It's probably honest. It might have even been a little cruel, right? Might have been but it is on purpose. There's a purpose to it. And sometimes we may not see what the purpose is. It just may not be available to us. It may be years later that we see the purpose. But that third energy and understanding that we're in a dynamic flow, we're in a dynamic movement, we're in a dynamic life. And when things stagnate and putrefy, there is an impermanence to living, right? There's an impermanence. Everything is going to die, including us, at some point. But we are always, always, always creating. The beacon, the point of connection and alignment. The lighthouse came forward in my meditations this month, and the lighthouse is sacred ground. You know, the lighthouse is pretty solid through storms, through peace times. It is directional. It can help us find our way home. It is a place of neutrality. If you're in that lighthouse, the lighthouse doesn't really care what nationality you are, what culture you're from, what race you are, what religion you are. It is a welcoming beacon, and for all. And the inward vision that I had over these last couple of weeks has been, I had a dream actually, and the dream showed little children up to maybe teenage, early teens, and they were actually taking down the borders and the barriers and the boundaries of the world, and making the territory we became the citizens. Everybody in that territory became the citizens of that territory. And it was so interesting because I can't remember the name now, but there was a name. Because what is creating a lot of the energy is our ideas, our ownership of our ideas, our religions, our cultural biases, our emotional feelings and reactions, the lines in the sand that says this is mine and you stay on your side of the line and that is yours, and as long as you don't cross over to my side of the line, we'll be okay. But the lighthouse is neutrality. The lighthouse stands. The lighthouse lights the way for all. And so this was the last learning, the last discourse from holding the high watch was the lighthouse and the beacon. There's a lot of intertwining in my visions. So the final thing that has been coming through, and it is still coming through, it has not subsided at all, is patience, 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 patience. And see, I just exhale. So you know there's going to be a breath, and here is the breath. It is rhythmic breathing. And my guidance was saying to me that in this case, for this ignition, that there is a rhythm. Oops, holding it upside down. There is a rhythm, and I always say, dance to the rhythm of your life. And there's that rhythm, and to really slow down enough, take time to breathe, but breathe in a way where you're consciously aware of tapping into the rhythm. The breath is the gateway to the pathways. The breath is the gateway to the pathways. And so as we breathe, it becomes the gateway to the rhythms of what is happening in that moment. And it's not a matter of tapping into the rhythms of the moment. It is holding your own so that you have a 360-degree perspective of what's happening. And that happens through the breath. I would also say that it's really wonderful to just be in rhythmic breathing, equal counts in and out, inhale for 4, exhale for 4 as an example, because what happens is you're encouraging that flow. And so with the people that I've been working with, and we're in the flow, not fight mantra right now, it's like, okay, my body is just tensed up. Let me exhale and then take a few breaths. So this is not necessarily that you have to sit and get in the right posture, get in the right space, get into your sanctuary. It is literally, we used to put a rubber band on our wrist, and when we looked at the band, take a few breaths, transfer the band over to the other hand, and then take a few breaths, and try it every hour. You can set your, now modern day, right? You can set your alarm on your phones so that you can stop and take a few breaths, so that you're constantly refreshing, resetting, renewing throughout the day. There's a lot of chaotic energy out there. And, a lot of people in my circles have just been saying, I just feel off. I don't understand. Well, there's a lot happening. One of the questions in that blog post was, maybe more of a statement, is I believe very deeply in harmony and balance. So there's all this strife going on that's in my immediate purview. Somewhere in the world there has got to be peace and harmony, happiness and joy. There just has to be. We're not made up to be in this this soup, this mud, that we're only seeing this perspective or this portion of the world. There's more. Okay? So on the human plane, the human design here, we've got the crossroads, love, and the third energy. Just know that as you're taking steps forward, that they are within right purpose. Fear not of making a mistake. Some things will feel uncomfortable. You may not see the reasoning behind it, but at the divine frequency and the divine nature, I want to say in the natural order of things, there are cycles, there's flow, there's life, and there's living. And whatever you have done, whatever you choose to do, whatever is coming forward for you is temporary. There's an impermanence to it. So if you're afraid that you're never going to recover, or if you're going to spend this money, it's the only money that you have, take a few breaths, get into the rhythm of living and the flow of life, and be in gratitude. Just breathe in, I'm grateful, breathe out, thank you, I am, and really, really, I would say play with this, because this is kind of some heavy stuff, So the more open and lightness, there's, it's really interesting. There's, other than the rhythmic breathing, I mean, I always say dance to the rhythm of life, so I guess it's kind of there. But that's kind of the idea. But you may have to be dancing to change, transform, or transmute the energy and the rhythms that are present right now. Okay. On the universal plane or the divine plane, dance, empty, circulate and flow. Know that you're standing on sacred ground, that you can call in the beacon, you can call in the sacredness, you can call in the high watch, as well as being it. I stand on this ground. It's been I'll use the word comforting, but it's been comforting to see people saying things like, this is all humanity. This is not just, my faith's humanity. We have to be patient and move forward in a way that honors the human life that is present in the region, right? So that has been encouraging. And I believe, as we all pray to circulate and expand love, let me be the love that I wish to be in the world, that your purpose will come through, your divine right action will come through. One of the things that I've been noting in life is, and I don't know if it's happening with you, but for some reason, there's just been financial pressures all of a sudden that I haven't had before. There's been a lot of unexpected expenses in my life, some of them medical, so that's just kind of the way of my life at the moment. But I can get tense and I can get so caught up in my life that I don't take time. I haven't taken time during that day to sort of take a look at the life around me, and that's when I say thank you. I am grateful. Breathe in, exhale the thank you, because I have to pause, be patient, look at the ground I'm standing on, call in the beacon, allow the light to show me the way. If I'm at a crossroads, stop, pause, breathe, listen. Know that there's only rightness in this moment. There's only rightness in this moment. That all life, all action has a purpose. Am I killing myself if we stay in the precept of the month? If I take this step, am I afraid that I'm going to kill myself? Figuratively, not actually. But is there a piece of me that I'm not valuing? Maybe that's a better way of putting it. That I'm considering myself unworthy. And that is just not the way of the high watch. That is not the energy of the high watch. To support the purpose and the spirit and the life. And there's so many different ways. Had a cancer patient, cancer client, say to me, I've got so many good people in my life, my family, who love me, and they're giving me advice that I just can't stand. And they don't understand that it's kind of, and she used the word killing me. It's kind of killing me. I'm so it's creating more tension because I don't want to live the way they're advising me to live. And I found a phrase the other day. It's called the advisor mind, and it is something that we need to let go of and just be in the situation, understand, feel the frequencies, and rest in the quiet, and let what is to be done, what is to be of assistance, what is to be in love, flow in. And sometimes when we are there's a lot of strife right now and a lot of hard energy, emotional energy, and sometimes we just need to sit with people. Just sit with them. I was trying to remember the other day, the last time I'd had a hug because of COVID and my immune system. I was like, you might have to release yourself into a hug. I might have to release myself into a hug. I don't know what the energetic hug looks like. Maybe I'll put that into spirit. But I have a lot of love in my life. Okay. So Gandhi, let me be the peace that I want to see in this world. Let me be the healing that I want to see in this world. Let me be the love that I like to see in this world. Let me be the sustenance and the generosity that I'd like to see in this world. Let me be the compassion that I'd like to see in this world. Let me be the light, the sacredness, the holiness, and the foundation, the sacred ground, the standing with purpose and conviction. And as we move into this, we can move into releasing the seeking and becoming satisfied and content is the words that are coming forward, but also comfortable and knowing the unknown and standing in that intersection and knowing that only the divine is here, only life is here. I think that is enough for now. Blessings, 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 blessings be unto you. Exhale. So be this done. Namaste. Amen.